What is up, YouTube universe? Eric here. I'm joined with my partner in crime, Jeff, and we're going to do our Week 7 picks.
What up?
Kicking off with Thursday night, the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the desert to face Carson Palmer and the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, at least it's dry down there. I got some surprises for you this week.
Gonna have to,
I
because
got
I'm down by 2 and we picked identical last week.
I got some surprises for you this week, but tomorrow is not one of them.
Yeah, I think Seattle wins this game just because they're playing outstanding defense, and Carson Palmer's been a little edgy as of late.
He's thrown a couple of picks here and there, and you got two good defenses, and I'm not saying that Arizona's defense is as good as Seattle's.
Daryl Washington. Boy,
but they're a pretty good defense. I mean, they stood toe to toe with San Francisco for most of that game, for all of that game. And if Carson Palmer hadn't turned it over a couple times, they might have won that game. Yeah. They were in it, and I'll tell you, it's a divisional thing. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me if Arizona came out of this with a victory. It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not going to pick it. But it wouldn't surprise me. Because they're at home and because Bruce Arians is a pretty good coach. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you throw the records out the window. And I think Tennessee,
showed something.
They put a little something in the fact that you can't go into the Lincoln CenturyLink Field and give it to the Seahawks. Because if it weren't for a couple of things, they wouldn't have won that game.
Well,
Russell Wilson is not on point.
No, he's not. And apparently, if you take out Hauschka, you don't have to worry about Seattle scored field goals.
Yeah. Just knee that guy. Just get a knee to him quick. That was a debacle. But see, but I just think that that was a defensive touchdown scored against Seattle, which is kind of the opposite of what they're used to. Mm-hmm. But yet it's happened in a couple of the games now, right? I mean, didn't they have a block punt? Against Indianapolis.
I believe they did. Yeah. So the local Seattle fans around here are giving me a hard time because every time I pick Seattle to win, they either A, lose, or B, something shitty happens to them, like Hauschka getting blown up. But sorry, guys, I got to pick Seattle to win again. I just think they got too much defense for Carson Palmer to handle, and until he figures out how to protect the ball a little bit better.
Well, I think until they get a running game, and they need to abandon Mendenhall. The guy's got nothing left in the tank.
Yeah, you ought to stick with that rookie. What's that rookie's name?
Eddington or Edgerton or whatever.
Yeah, he's playing well. Give him the rock.
Yeah, just put him in there and get Mendenhall out of there. Make him the running back coach or something.
Goal line something. But anyways, we're both taking Seattle.
Yeah, we're both taking Seattle.
Okay, next up, Tampa Bay heading to Atlanta.
Well, the CDC was visiting Tampa Bay this week.
Yeah.
And that can't be good. That can't be good for your locker room.
MRSA, all around.
MRSA. Yeah, let's invite the nation's Center for Disease Control into our locker room. I just don't think anything good's going on down there.
We got Julio Jones out for the year. Roddy White's still hobbled.
Boy, Atlanta.
Running game is in shambles. You got Tony Gonzalez. That's
pretty much it. You got Matty Ice. He's pretty steady. He's gonna find ways to. The problem that he's gonna run into here is, you have you got Harry Douglas, who is serviceable, but he's gonna find Revis on him. And he's not good enough to get Revis off him.
No.
Julio's good enough that Revis won't count. Kind of like Deshaun Jackson was good enough that Revis didn't count. That's not Harry Douglas. Harry Douglas is going to disappear. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Roddy White's going to play, but that's what he's been playing.
He's a decoy.
I think I think he's just trying to keep the streak going. And the thing of it is that really helping? I mean, if he would have sat out for 3 games and just screw the streak, let's heal, they'd be in really good shape right now because Roddy White's still a great wide receiver, but he's not on a hammy and an ankle. And no Julio Jones. They haven't brought anybody in that I know of. I'm sure they're looking. Yeah, Steven Jackson's not even practicing, and this is just a quad.
Yeah. Well, he's had this quad for the last.
Rub that fucker out, man.
Well, he's had it for 2 seasons.
Rub that bitch out.
Yeah, well,
I mean, come on. I've had a quad before. Rub it out. Fuck.
Yeah,
but I still think Atlanta's got too much for him.
I'm going to take Tampa Bay because Mike
in
Glennon,
the Georgia Dome, huh?
Yep. Mike Glennon showed me something last week that, granted, he's a rookie. Granted, he's a third-round draft pick. But, man, he can play. And
in the Georgia Dome. All right,
he's doing the smart thing. He's going to Vincent Jackson early and often, and they're leaning on the running game again. So I like Tampa Bay. They're playing good defense, and they've got some weapons on offense. Everybody appears to be healthy, and Josh Freeman's ass is shipped up to the Viking land.
I don't think it's going to happen in the Georgia Dome. I think Matty Ice and their coach down there, he's smart enough. They had a bye week. They figured out what to do without Julio Jones, and they'll get it done. They'll get it done.
Oh, I'm down 2 games, so I got to pick some different teams here. We were identical last week. Okay, next game up is St. Louis heading to Carolina. Cam Newton reappeared last week.
Poof!
Yeah,
somebody rubbed the lamp.
Yep. He looked great. He looked great.
Yeah, he did. He looked like the Cam Newton of old. Like, what? Where's this guy been? Where have you been? He's running. He's throwing,
It seems like every time I shit on a specific player or shit on a specific team, they do the polar opposite. I've been regaling Cam Newton all season long, and last week I was like, Cam Newton's struggling, and what does he do? So, if you're a Carolina fan, I'm sorry, but
on the other side of the coin, you've got St. Louis, who's 3-3 now.
I love St. Louis. Man,
they went down to Houston and put the bag on Schaub. I mean, I think they got a pick 6. This Zach Stacy, we talked about it. We laughed about it last week, the Zach Stacy show. But he had 68 yards the week before. He had 72 yards rushing on the and some passing yards. He's taken the heat off of Bradford, and now Bradford's starting to
3 touchdowns. He's protecting the ball. He's playing like we all expected Sam Bradford to play.
He just needed that relief. Everybody needs that running game. The disappearance of the purpose running back, it's a myth. You're not going to play in this league if you're just passing. Because these defenses are too fast and too strong, and if all you're going to do is drop back and pass, they're going to unleash on you.
If you're playing a team with a pass rush, look out. I mean, even Jacksonville showed that Peyton Manning could be disrupted.
And let's look at the reason why these guys, quote unquote read option guys, were so successful last year. Kaepernick, Luck to some degree, RG3, Cam Newton.
I said it again, Cam Newton.
The thing is these guys they're so aggressive in their rushing that when these mobile quarterbacks break contain, there isn't anybody to stop them because the linebackers are rushing and all your defensive secondary are covered up with receivers. That leaves 30 yards for a mobile quarterback.
Michael Vick before.
Yeah, how do you change that? So, but now they're changing things a little bit different. And again, some of these mobile quarterbacks have tried to go back to being a drop back passer. And guess what? Let's
talk to Terrell Pryor about how that went.
Yeah.
So
there's no getting away from that defense. I'm convinced of that now.
I'm gonna take Carolina in this game just because they seem to be clicking finally after last week. I love St. Louis. God, I want to pick them so bad.
But here's what I'm thinking.
Like Carolina.
I'm going to go ahead and take St. Louis. And what I'm thinking is this team is not mature enough to realize that. See, they think they're all that now. And I think what's going to happen is Cam Newton's going to go back into his little shell. And I think St. Louis got they got some linebackers that can contain that guy. Carolina doesn't have that great of a running game. And I think they're gonna do it. I really do. So I'm gonna take St. Louis in this game.
I disagree with you on the running game part. They just don't have a running game that's scoring a lot of touchdowns. But between the 20s, they're putting
D'Angelo Williams is up there, sure, and Cam Newton's up there. I think he inflates that a little bit. But they played a Minnesota team that was a little deflated last week, I think. And here's another thing: all the talk about poor AP and all this. Did you hear about the guy that actually raised that kid? Mm-hmm. Came out and said AP didn't never even meet the kid until the day he saw him in the hospital.
Oh my gosh! Well, and now there's like Hooters waitresses coming out.
Well, but here's the thing: this guy raised the kid, but he's no longer with the mother, right? But he raised the kid for the last 2 years, and him and AP only recently found out that he wasn't the father, and now she's with another dude that was the guy that beat the kid up.
So AP wasn't really sad.
AP's
He
the
was
real.
just like, oh shit, now I'm in the
Oh
press
shit,
for
I'm a
that.
dad now. This kid that I'm the father of is in the hospital, and that's terrible. But I don't think he had any emotional thing to it. And maybe the team did, but they sure didn't play like it.
Yeah, so
And
you
then
got St. Louis, I got Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll stick with. There we go. 2 different games already. All right. Next up, Cincinnati heading to Detroit, Motor City.
Yep, I'm taking Detroit.
And why, pray tell, would you take?
I'm
Detroit?
taking Detroit because Cincinnati has not played well on the road. They've taken out. They took out a very good.
Browns.
But
beat
no,
the Browns.
they lost to the Browns.
Or no, I'm thinking Detroit beat.
They lost to the Browns. They beat New England at home. They beat Green Bay at home. Okay. But on the road, they let a Buffalo team with an unproven, unpracticed Thad Lewis
from the heavens,
come back on them 14 points. I just don't. This team, despite the great defense they have, they're not playing well on the road. And I think Detroit is. They've proven they can get it done. They got it done against the Browns without a healthy Calvin Johnson. He's going to be healthy this week, and he's going to be hungry.
I think Matt Stafford's throwing touchdowns to Joe Fourier just to watch the dances.
Well, yeah, and
It's rookie tight end's
Detroit
got
took care of
wingspan like a condor.
Detroit dispatched Chicago like it was nobody's business.
Yeah, they're a good team
at home, and so I'm taking Detroit in this.
I think I'm gonna agree with you. I like Cincinnati's defense. The Red Rifle played really, really well last week, but
for the first time in 4 weeks.
Yeah, but they were in Cincy, so put them on the road in a hostile environment because Detroit is a dome, so it's just going to be louder in there, and I think the fans are going to be into it, especially with Fourier's touchdown dance.
And maybe Ndamukong Suh will actually take his shoe off and stuff it down Andy Dalton's throat.
Hey, apparently,
I mean, he's getting fined $31,500 and $100,000. This guy's like $300,000 in fines. Why not just go for the fucking trifecta?
It's week 7. I mean, he might be $1 million in the dumpster before the
let's
season's
just get
over.
you suspended.
So we both got Detroit in that one. Okay, next up, the resurgent San Diego Chargers heading to Jacksonville.
Revitalized.
God, Phillip Rivers. Maybe the 7th baby is his lucky number.
I just didn't think that they were going to take care of business with Andrew Luck, and they did.
Andrew Luck played well, but his receivers were dropping passes left and right.
That's just got to eat a guy up. It's like Tom Brady is so disgusting. Because, Tom Brady doesn't look like Tom Brady because his receivers are... But it's always been said, Tom Brady can, he can make anybody a receiver. He did it with Rashae Caldwell. He did it with this. He did it with that. Well, that was 8-9 years ago. Maybe he doesn't have as much on the ball, and maybe the balls aren't coming just the way they normally are, and these guys aren't that good.
Well, they must not be that good, because some of the drop passes I've seen are right in the midst. I
don't know what's going on.
I really, really want Jacksonville to win this game. I loved what they did last week.
They're going to win a game sooner or later.
I love what they did last week against Peyton Manning. He was so mad.
And the thing of this is they hung in there. They hung in there when everybody said this is the blowout of the century, and they had the audacity to come in there and say no.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
We're a professional football team. And here's my thought. San Diego's just kind of the dumb enough team to fucking get beat by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'd love to see
it. And I think that's what's going to happen this week. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to come off the snide. I think something's going to happen in this game, and Phillip Rivers is just going to be thrown off, and he's not going to be able to get back on track. I just think, maybe this is the week that Maurice Jones-Drew goes freaking crazy. Blackman's back. Henny's getting into his, another week of practice, another week of chemistry. I think this is the week, and I think San Diego's the perfect team for this to happen to, because it happened to them against the Raiders, and it can happen again.
Yeah.
And I see it coming.
I agree. The old mythical momentum is shifted to the Jacksonville.
I can just see it coming, because San Diego's always that team where you go, how the fuck do they allow this shit to happen?
Yep. San Diego is one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams, but I love the fact that Jacksonville is starting to feed the ball to Maurice Jones-Drew. I mean, he played well, and Justin Blackmon, this kid, now he's
14 balls.
Yeah, now he's being.
And they got Cecil Shorts, who's not a bad wide receiver. So I mean, now you got 2 threats, you got 3 threats. They don't really have a tight end to speak of, but who's to say they can't do this? And I think maybe they're gonna. I think they're due.
That was gonna be my upset, so we're picking the same upset. We both got Jacksonville.
I'm taking Jacksonville.
I love it. All right, next game, Buffalo heading to Miami.
Interesting game, and I saw
Thad Lewis.
I think it was Pat Kerwin said, Buffalo has been pressing these people and putting it on them and making everything close, and they're not even healthy. I mean, the running backs weren't healthy. Their defense hasn't been healthy. Nobody's going to want to play these guys when they get fully healthy. And I think they're another week healthy. I think both of their running backs are healthy. And, what they signed the great Wizard of Oz, didn't they? Then they signed Matt Flynn.
Did they sign Matt Flynn?
They signed Matt Flynn, yeah.
Okay, well,
I'm not sure if he's playing.
Well, yeah, I mean, Thad Lewis played out of his head. He got hurt, though, didn't he?
Hurt his foot, so I think it's Matt Flynn. I think we're looking at the Matt Flynn show.
Yikes.
You know what? Miami is only, I mean, they give up like 107, 110 yards a game on the rush.
They got a 3-headed monster in Buffalo now.
Rashard
Choice is starting to get fed the ball.
And, God, who's to say Matt Flynn doesn't just go, you know what, this is my last chance. I got to fucking do it.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with you, but I just don't see it. Not against that defense.
That defense hasn't been that great.
No, I think their pass rush is going to come around. I think the Miami fans have something to be excited for because the Patriots are regressing. Yeah, they won last week, but it was on some Tom Brady fourth quarter, 2 seconds left stuff. But they've got a chance to really make some noise in that division, and I don't think they're going to let the Buffalo Bills set them back a step. So I got Miami winning this one.
Yeah, I wanted to take Buffalo, but I just don't think I can. Not with
Matt Flynn with a week under his belt.
No, not even a week.
This kid got his big deal with Seattle off of one game. He broke some records in Green Bay in one game. It was late in the season. They were resting all their starters.
Dude, how masterful. It's almost like what Andy Reid did with Kevin Cobb. He made this guy look like a fucking genius, and they've sold him high and low around until he's not even on a team anymore.
He's just getting cut.
Is he?
He's just getting cut left and right.
He was supposed to start in Buffalo, right? Isn't he on the
IR? Kevin Cobb, yeah. Yeah, he is. He's on injured reserve. He blew his knee out when he was running on the practice field.
He's getting paid.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I
don't hate the player, hate the game, right?
Yeah, I can't hate the player, but I just, God, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo pulls this out, but I'm going to go with Miami this time.
I got Miami too. All right, next up, New England Patriots faced the New York Jets in New York.
We both picked New York last week against Pittsburgh, and they kind of threw the egg. But man, you almost can't blame them. Pittsburgh needed to win really bad. They had a bye week to study and
there's no foosball being played in that locker room, according to Mike Tomlin.
That's right. Don't be flipping over. I'm taking the Jets. I think it's high time. I am sick and tired of New England. I really am. And they were beat last week. And
they beat the whole game.
They beat the whole game. And I think the other team thought they had it and let up. And that's just the kind of luck that happens with New England. And I'll hand it to them. They didn't stop. But there was a lot of mistakes that and it always seems to fall in place for New England, that the other team makes these dumbass mistakes and they take advantage of it. And I'm always like, why the fuck do you make dumbass mistakes against this team? God, the last team that if you just do the smart thing, and somebody's always trying to reach or when they should just hit the ground with an interception, they try to run it back and then it gets refumbled and they pick it up and kick a field goal and beat you, and you're like, how the hell did they pull that out? It's almost like it's scripted, like the WWE or something, but I just have a gut. It's just in my gut.
Gut feeling. Well,
That's
the Jets are the best team in New York now.
That's all I got is my gut. My gut tells me that nobody has really done anything against this defense. They really haven't. It's a great defense, and the same can be said for New England's defense. Mm-hmm. I don't know how, but now they're down Gerard Mayo, and now they're down Vince Wilfork. At some point, it's got to crack, and I think it's going to crack this week, and I think that crack is going to widen.
Well,
so this is the beginning of a crevasse.
I disagree with your gut. I got New England in this one because yes, they have Tom Brady. Yes, there were some drop passes, but they caught the ones that the big catch came from Kimbrell Tompkins in the end zone at the end of the game. But they started feeding Stephen Ridley the ball, and this kid is running with a purpose.
Right,
again.
but the New York Jets are the number 2 defense in the NFL. They give up 72 yards on average, and they face some pretty decent teams to hold that. And they did drop some passes, but they also got some asses from Bill Belichick.
I did not say Stephen Ridley was going to have success, but I said they're starting to give him the ball again.
He's on my fucking bench, and he's staying there.
And you've got to have a running game if you're going to be successful against a team like the Jets. And with number 12 under center, you've always got a chance to win. And I just think they're going to win this game.
Ridley's on my bench. Don't even try to talk me out of it.
I would only try to talk you out of it if you were playing me. Okay, next game is Dallas heading to the city of brotherly love.
Brotherly love. Boy, what a nasty rivalry this has been over the years.
Nick Foles in the house.
The Nick Foles show. God, who's on the defensive line for Dallas? I
got a call. They want me to come play some tackle.
Yeah, I put my name in the hat. Man, they pulled some guys off the street and got it done, though. Yeah. Got it done against RG3, and I think Philadelphia's in for a long day. They can't stop the pass. They can't stop the run. They're the worst team in the league against the pass. They're the third worst team in the league against the run. And I think Tony Romo's the wrong guy to have that. Des Bryant and Jason Witten and this new kid, Terrence Williams, and they got a healthy Miles Austin.
Yeah, yes, Dallas has lost DeMarco Murray, but against a Philadelphia team who can't stop anybody who's handed the football, I just don't think they're going to have enough to stop whoever's in Dallas' backfield.
It's Randall, and
I just think with Tony Romo and the way he's playing right now, I mean, yeah, he throws an interception or two, but he's played really well this season.
Yeah, he's only thrown 3 interceptions.
Des Bryant takes half of your defensive backfield away. So yes, Nick Foles is playing well. If it weren't for Philly's defense being so porous, I would probably take them, but I think Dallas is going to win this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a runaway.
Okay, so we both got Dallas. Next game is Chicago headed to Washington to face the Redskins.
The Skins. Boy, they Dallas, what was it, 31 points Dallas scored? Mm-hmm. But that was Tony Romo only threw 1 passing touchdown, I think. And Randall... Actually, that was to Randall. It was a catch. It was a catch and a score there. So
special teams
had a touchdown. Special teams ran it back, 90 yards. Dallas won it on special teams and defense last week, which was really weird because their defense was decimated.
Yeah.
But my point there is that Washington's defense somehow held that Dallas offense that scored 48 against the Broncos at bay. And, they're at home. They're really super hungry. Here comes Chicago with their resurgent Jay Cutler and a couple of big weapons. Matt Forte. Everything points toward the fact that Chicago should probably win this game. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna pick Washington.
Man, you got RG3, you got Santana Moss, the Cowboy Killer. You've got Leonard Hankerson. The tight end there's playing well. Alfred
Peter
Morris.
Wader.
Yeah, Peter Wader. Alfred Morris has been playing. He played well last week. And man, I am going to take Chicago. Because Matt Forte is playing out of his mind. You got those two ginormous receivers outside the numbers. Martellus Bennett is playing well there.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay Cutler's protecting the football.
Yeah, but let's not forget about the fact
enough.
that 2 of Chicago's linebackers were hurt last week. And they're already hurt again. So they have no defense. And that's a perfect recipe for yet another week. RG3 starts running. And I think you're going to see out of RG3 what you saw out of Cam Newton last week. And he said this week, if that's what I got to do, then I'm going to run. And I think RG3 is going to take it into his... I think he's getting healthy. And I think he's going to just go ahead and say, I'm just going to
I think he's been healthy. He's just been thinking about his knee. Like, that's always in the back of your mind when your knee gets blown up like that. Because if you watch the way he was throwing the ball, his mechanics, he was throwing off his back foot. He wasn't driving off his back leg. But last week, he had a good solid base. He was driving off the ball. He was making accurate throws. That being said, though, I don't think they're beating Chicago. I got
there you go.
Dub Bears. Okay. Next game, you got San Francisco headed to Tennessee to face the thorn in the side Titans.
Man, they are a thorn in the side, and they almost did it against Seattle at Seattle, and
with the Amish rifle.
And they gave the Chiefs everything they could handle too, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And
God, those teams played some tough defenses.
They took care of.
They got San Francisco.
They took care of business in
These guys have got
Houston.
To be black and blue.
They took care of business in Houston, and Houston's the number 2 defense, despite the fact they've been getting beat. They're the number 2 defense in the league in total yardage, which means they're not giving you a whole lot to work with.
It's just Houston's
my problem with Tennessee is the fact that they got the Amish rifle, and I think San Francisco's too much. And despite the fact that you've got a kind of a clash of 2 Titans there, I think San Francisco's coming.
I got San Francisco on that one too. Man, Vernon Davis, boy howdy.
He stuffed it up my ass sideways and smoked a bowl.
Yeah, he was against you in fantasy
Yeah, no,
last week.
He went up my ass, poked his head out, and smoked a cigarette.
Okay, so San Francisco it is. Sorry, Tennessee, we love what you're doing, but not this week. All right, next game, you got the Cleveland Browns headed to face the Green Bay Packers.
Not going to happen. I don't care that they won 3 in a row. I don't care about the great story. I don't care. Brandon Whedon sucks. He threw the worst interception. I mean, that was just careless.
Yeah. Just take the sack at that point.
Yeah, just what's so bad about a sack? I mean, is it just been programmed in? Don't get sacked, don't get sacked. I mean, that was like a Brett Favre thing that just simply didn't work. I mean, Brett Favre used to pull that shit off.
Yeah.
But Brandon Whedon is not Brett Favre.
Yeah, he is.
Stop even
Brett Favre.
Stop with all that shit. You have a hard enough time throwing it when you're standing on 2 feet with a wide open receiver. Quit trying to, just stop. Already.
Yeah, I agree with you. Green Bay all day, all night, and Eddie Lacy's back, and he ran the ball last week well. He's a load to bring down. Although Cleveland's defense, there's a lot to be excited about.
They're legit.
Cleveland defensively.
I just think we're starting to come into the part of the schedule where we're going to start showing some people who they really are, and Cleveland Browns are who we thought they were.
Cleveland is on their way. They're just not there yet.
But they're who we thought they were.
Yeah.
I mean, they've tricked us for about 3 weeks, and we're tired of it. They're who we thought they were.
Yeah, well, Denny Green said that too, as he lost to the Bears.
That's right. Well, the Bears are who we thought they were.
You got Devin Hester.
Right. That defense, and the thing that is, if you think about what happened to them that night, that when they scored 2 defensive touchdowns, special teams, and last year the Bears were doing that shit every week.
Yep.
Special teams, were scoring, 2 touchdowns a week, and you thought, can't somebody stop them from doing this? Well, apparently not. I mean, because it happened every week last week. So it's not happening this year, but it's the Chiefs that are doing it. Can you stop these guys from? No, you can't because they're good. They're fast. They move on the ball. They're fucking slapping. Yeah, and every week just gives them more. Firepower to go into the next week and slap the ball out of your hand and block a field goal and pick 6. And you just can't. It's like a snowball. This Chiefs defense is on such a roll. And you can't stop them. You couldn't. I mean, you could go in there with a league of naysayers and say you guys shouldn't be doing this, and they'd sack that guy.
They
had
just
10 sacks last week. Are you kidding me?
It. Yeah.
31 sacks.
We're both discount double checking this week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So Green Bay it is. Speaking of the Chiefs defense, you got the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Traveling to Kansas City.
This defense is out of its fucking mind, and it's incredible what they're doing. 31 sacks. They got 31 sacks in 6 games.
I can't think of the last time I've seen a defense play this well.
I haven't seen a defense average 5 sacks a game.
That's crazy.
They've got 31 sacks in 6 games, and that's 10 more than they had all of last year.
Yep, and circle that fucking game when they play Peyton Manning, because if they could get to Peyton Manning, they stand a chance to win that game. But this week, they are playing the Houston Texans with a healthy Arian Foster, a healthy Ben Tate, and
a healthy
who's playing quarterback?
YT, what the fuck's his name?
I don't know.
YT Tittle? It's not. It might as well be YA Tittle.
There might be another 10-sack game brewing here.
The problem that I see here is that J.J. Watt is pissed. And your quarterback is tailor-made for a guy that loves to bat that small ball down.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Smith likes to throw that 5-yard out pass, which doesn't get much arc on it, and that's exactly what J.J. Watt's looking for. And he might even pick one of those things off.
It's possible.
If he gets too much on you, I mean, this Houston defense, they're still number 2 in the league.
Yeah, they're still good. And Kansas City's offense has been a little suspect other than Jamal Charles.
It's not that the offense is suspect. They have the tools, but are they going to open it up? I mean, are they going to open the throttle? Is Alex Smith going to start looking down the field? And if you don't throw the ball down the field, every once in a while, you'll see Dallas does it, a couple other teams do it. Every once in a while, they'll just take a shot down the field just to let the other team know that you need to defend me past 10 yards, or I'm going to light you up.
They got the weapons to do it. Donnie Avery, Dwayne Bowe.
But Alex Smith doesn't look that way. And so what happens is you shorten the field. And now all of a sudden you can pull them safeties up because this guy's not looking down there.
Yeah, and despite that, Jamal Charles is still having a good season.
And he has to burn a couple teams, is what happens, because they'll sneak up on you. They'll bring that safety up, and they're going to sneak those corners up, and they're going to shorten the field on you, and they're going to play you in that box. And with a guy like J.J. Watt, if you're in that box and you stay in that box, somebody's going to make you pay. Mm-hmm. And this team could do that. They're going to have to get out of that box to win this game, because you're not going to win it. I mean, you could win it on defense again because, YT,
they've been doing it all year. Why not?
Yates, whatever the fuck his name is, he's not going to burn you. But you know what? He actually came in for Shaw and took him to the playoffs. He finished that season.
Yates is splitting the first round or first team reps this week with the guys whose name I can't think of right now. So if this other guy plays, who knows who he is?
Yeah, I mean, and that's just tragic. That's got tragedy spelled all over it. But with this,
you got a rookie quarterback against this defense.
The problem is, I just don't think Houston's going to score any points. I mean, you're not going to run against this defense. I'm thoroughly convinced of that. And you've got to be kind of a masterful passer to pass in this defense. If it wasn't for that, I think you guys could be in danger of losing. But I just
too much defense.
Yeah, and you're in the Sea of Red. They set the record last week.
Oh yeah, open stadium. I mean Seattle. Yeah,
10
you had the record.
Sacks. I mean, my God,
3 picks, one went to the house.
I mean, what's the record? Did we look that up? I mean,
no, we should.
What's the record for the most number of sacks in a game?
I don't know.
10?
That's crazy.
10 on your ass, and that was my quarterback I had in fantasy. My God, I just kept seeing him. He was 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Ended up with. He'd throw for 20 yards and I'd gain 2 points, and then he'd sack. I'd be right back where I was before. It was like standing chance of winning.
And Terrell Pryor's a mobile quarterback.
Yeah,
take off on you.
And the thing of it is I took Andy Dalton out of my lineup just because I needed to get somebody to back up my Matt Ryan selection.
Well, that's the downside of being a mobile quarterback, is if you got a fast defense that'll lock their jaws on you, then your wheels don't matter.
Howdy.
Break and contain is just another sack.
Boy, howdy. Well, they didn't have a running game. That's the thing. So.
Yeah, Darren McFadden did virtually nothing against that team. So I'm taking Kansas City.
That defense is too legit to quit.
There's
too much momentum.
I'm taking Kansas City.
I think you guys are gonna be 9-0.
We were in 03. That's the last time it happened.
I think you're gonna be 9-0 going into the Denver game, and but I don't think Denver's gonna be.
You think they're gonna slip to somebody? God, I'd love to see the Colts beat them.
I think they're gonna slip this week. It's one of my surprises.
Okay. So we're both taking Kansas City.
Absolutely.
All right. Next game, divisional face-off. You got Baltimore headed to Pittsburgh.
Yep, they certainly are.
They are, in fact.
And Baltimore's one of those teams that has, well, they're the Super Bowl champs, right?
They are.
And they keep getting slapped in the mouth, and then everybody counts them out, and then they come back and win a game. They get slapped in the mouth last week by Aaron Rodgers. They didn't get slapped too hard. I mean, he didn't embarrass them like Peyton Manning did. But
God, that was a clinic.
They're going into Pittsburgh. That's always a dogfight, right? And
always.
The Ravens have had the top end of that dogfight for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And Pittsburgh kind of barely beat a Jets team that
19-6.
Yeah, I mean, they kicked 4 field goals. You know,
well, that's probably you're going to see more of the same in this. I mean, when you
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think Torrey Smith and this other kid, Marlon Brown. I think Joe Flacco's going to be on, and the reason why I think that is because Pittsburgh hasn't been sacking anybody.
No,
there's no pressure, and if you don't have any pressure, Flacco's going to tear you up. You know, I mean, he got pressured last week, and he's not going to get pressured this week. And I think this is a blowout. I think Pittsburgh's going to get embarrassed.
Wow.
I think that they won last week. They got beat by Minnesota, who got blown out by Carolina. I mean, Pittsburgh's not good. They're not good. And Baltimore's one of those teams that when you embarrass them, they get pissed, you know. And they're going into Pittsburgh, and it's one of those grudge match games. I just don't think this is not going to be that defense to defense that it's always been, because Pittsburgh isn't that team. But Baltimore still has that potential. And I think this is going to be like, I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be like 28-6.
Ooh.
I don't think Pittsburgh scores a touchdown.
Okay. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Right on.
I've got really no reason why. Just a gut feeling, but I'm going to take Pittsburgh because, on contrary to what you're saying, I think their defense is going to play better. I think they're going to put pressure on Flacco. I think they're going to abandon Ray Rice again, which seems like every time they do that, they lose.
Realize that the guy that they stole from Levi Brown, is that his name? Levi, whatever. The guy that they got from the Cardinals to replace the left tackle that they lost is now on IR because he hurt his pectoral muscle during warm-ups last week. So who the fuck they got in there now to protect Roethlisberger's backside?
I think Pittsburgh is going to get back to the Pittsburgh way of football. They're going to run the ball. Now, granted, Baltimore's defense is good. A lot of people say, "Oh, you can't run against Baltimore," but it's going to happen.
If that's the only thing you got, though, you're done.
Antonio Brown, over the top, baby.
We'll see.
Watch it happen.
I hope it does, because he's on my fantasy
team. This is exciting. We've got a lot of different picks this week. Okay,
I'm going for the fucking. It's all or nothing. I could end up on my ass at the end of the week.
All right, so you're taking the Ravens. I'm taking the Steelers. Next game up is a game that we alluded to earlier. You got Peyton Manning heading to his old home of old.
Yep.
Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Field.
Yep, and it's going to be a dream come true.
Sunday Night Football. Very intriguing.
Indianapolis is going to beat the Denver Broncos this week.
I certainly hope you're right as a Chiefs fan. Denver certainly showed that they can be disrupted by the Jaguars of all teams.
Yeah.
Actually, Peyton Manning was harassed. I don't know.
And that was at home. That was at home now.
Yeah, Jacksonville was on the road. So I don't know if Denver overlooked Jacksonville, which is a mistake against any team.
It could happen.
But they ain't going to be overlooking Andrew Luck and the Colts. And there's been some spitter spatter in the media. Jim Irsay.
That. You know what?
Jim Irsay is a douchebag. I'm going record. I don't like Jim Irsay. He's an idiot.
Yeah, he's a total douche. But you know what he was trying to say was, what he was trying to say was that we had to get away from the philosophy where we're an offense only team and we don't spend any money on defense, because despite the fact that we had Peyton Manning, once we got into the postseason, that wasn't enough. And he's accurate with that, because it wasn't Peyton Manning's fault that they were 1 and out in the playoffs every year. It was their defense. You and I talked about this. There were years when it was just, we're going to outscore the other team because we can't stop anybody, but we've got Peyton Manning, which is great in the regular season. But in the postseason, you're facing teams that aren't in your division that you didn't face. And
here's the other problem is Peyton Manning was always historically benched the last week or two of the regular season.
Yeah,
then had the
and
first round.
rusty.
That's 3 weeks out of football. You just can't do that. I don't care if you are Peyton Manning. You need to practice. You need to play. And they did that year in and year out, and they paid for it. I mean, Peyton Manning just looked, and it wasn't just the defense. Peyton Manning always looked rusty in the playoffs.
To just have a good offense going into the playoffs. Defense wins ball games. They didn't have one, and I think that's what Jim Irsay was trying to say, is that we need to invest in the defensive side of the ball and not have a $100 million quarterback, which is going to work for him for the next 3 years.
Then they're going to have to pay Andrew Luck.
Then they're going to have to pay Andrew Luck $150 million.
Yes.
Because by the 3 years from now, right now it's They paid $120 million for Joe Flacco, and Andrew Luck is 2 Joe Flacos.
Yes. So you're taking the Colts in this one.
I'm taking the Colts in this one, and I just think that this crowd is, yes, they're gonna welcome. It's kind of like when Andy Reid went back.
Yeah, it was a classy thing.
They welcomed him and they did all that, and then Andy Reid,
dismantled
the Philadelphia Eagles. Denver doesn't have a defense. I mean, Dallas showed that.
I'm gonna mention a name to you and a phrase that this name said earlier. Von Miller. He's back, and he said, I'm going to earn back the trust of my teammates. Mm-hmm. Now, when you got a guy that says something like that, A, that shows class. B, Von Miller is a tremendous athlete. I mean, the guy, as a rookie, was one of the sack leaders in the entire NFL. And now he's coming back. It's an emotional game.
He is coming back.
This is his chance to earn the trust of his teammates back, because this game is huge.
Right, let me ask you something, though. You just got through saying that Peyton Manning can't be out of football for 3 weeks.
That's Peyton Manning, though.
But he's Peyton Manning. He's been doing this all of his life, and him being out of it for 3 weeks makes him ineffective. Yeah, but Von Miller hasn't even been able to go to the facility for 6 weeks.
Yeah, a quarterback is different, though, than a pass rusher. I mean, you got to have that continuity with your receivers.
But he has to have timing on his moves.
You just got to be in shape, and you got to. And trust me, Von Miller's in shape. I can guarantee you, he will be ready to go, and I think
it's great if all he's got to do is move forward. But he's got to catch Pat. He's got to the speed of the game. He's got to pick that. He's got to pick that running back off that's flashing by him.
He'll be ready.
I don't think so.
He'll be ready.
And
it pains me to say this, but I got Denver.
Yeah, well, I'm taking Indianapolis.
I love that. I hope you're right. I actually hope you're right, but I got to take Denver. Monday Night Football. The Josh Freeman led Minnesota Vikings headed to face the winless, I'll say it again, winless New York Giants. What in the hell is going on with the Giants? They just signed Peyton Hillis. Man. I don't know if that's
actually a really smart move. I'm surprised I didn't know he was out there. If I'd have known he was out there, I'd have told them to do that 4 weeks ago. Peyton Hillis is way better than Brandon Jacobs.
And Brandon Jacobs is playing well right now.
And
he got brought back to earth.
Think about this. Think about what kind of a beast that kid was when he was with Denver and then with Cleveland, and then he got his head all fucked up.
And he got paid.
But he's been eating top ramen.
Yeah,
he's out of the league.
Kansas City.
This is his chance. This is his chance. This kid's gonna be thinking, you know what? It's week 7. I can play for 9 weeks. For next year too.
Yeah.
He's thinking down the road. This kid, he might not play this week, but...
Are you thinking the Giants are going to win this game?
I'm thinking the Giants are going to win this game. And here's why I'm thinking the Giants are going to win this game. If Cam Newton can put it on Minnesota, then Eli Manning can wake the fuck up and start. I think Victor Cruz is going to have 200 yards.
He could.
I think Hakeem Nicks is going to have 150 yards. What are they thinking about trading him to the Jaguars? I mean, I heard some talk about that. I think really it's time. It's really time that there's no way that the Giants are this bad of a football team, and there's no way that Eli Manning is going to continue to be that. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's been the MVP of both of them. He has mastered. I mean, last year he was the fourth quarter. You couldn't beat him. It's time to wake up, and I think this is what's going to happen. I think this is a blowout.
Oh,
I think this is a blowout.
You think they're going to blow out Minnesota?
I think it's going to be. I think 35-10.
Yeah, I actually got Minnesota winning this game because I think Josh Freeman is going to come out and have a good game. Granted, he hasn't been with the team.
So the other side of the story, you're taking the Cinderella. I just got dumped by my.
Yep, and he's going to show Tampa Bay exactly what they lost. I think he's going to have a good game. Look for Greg Jennings to have a good game, and look for Cordell Patterson to finally be used. I think Adrian Peterson's going to get fed the rock because the Giants defensively haven't been doing a whole bunch. Yeah. So I just think Minnesota offensively is really going to take it to the Giants. I think Eli Manning is going to continue to struggle.
Mark my words. At the end of this week, Eli Manning is going to be the #1 fantasy quarterback.
Oh, God.
And
Bless
Victor
America.
Cruz is going to be the #1 fantasy wide receiver this week.
Okay,
this week only.
You should go buy a fucking lottery ticket, my friend.
This week only. I see it happen.
Wow.
I see it.
Yeah, I don't. I see Eli Manning
Wait,
with that.
You think this guy just forgot how to play football?
I think he remembers how to play football, but I just don't think he has any help.
You think he forgot how to throw the ball to Victor Cruz, who's going to be streaking down the sideline against his team?
Yeah,
they got lit up by Justin. Let me ask you a question: If you were going to be the GM of a football team, and you had Blackman or Victor Cruz, and you had Cam Newton or Eli Manning, who would you bring in?
Oh, I'm taking Blackman and Cam Newton. All day.
Yeah.
All day. You got young talent.
And then you'd go the way of the fucking dodo.
I don't think so. I think Eli Manning, yes, you put that guy in the postseason, he is a golden child. But in the regular season, he's never been that great. Ever. He's had one.
Dude, you're talking about a combination of 2 players that have won a Super Bowl together and have been one of the deadliest combinations in the NFL for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Against a combination of players that have done nothing.
On bad teams. They're just on bad teams. But I would take Cam Newton and Justin Blackman all day. Victor Cruz, yeah, he's a speedy receiver, but he's not as big and not as physical as Justin Blackman. But yeah, I got Minnesota winning this one all day. Running game's going to kill him. Adrian Peterson's going to kill him. You watch. He shit the bed last week. Adrian Peterson, mark my words, $150 plus and a minimum of 2 touchdowns.
All right. Well, we've got it's on. It's
Yeah,
on.
it is on. We picked most of those games different.
Gonna be watching these with a fervor.
Yeah,
coming out of this. This is how I got ahead to begin with.
Yep.
Chicka-doo-doo, chicka-doo-doo.
You're picking the Giants to beat the Vikings. I love it. All right, so that's our picks for Week 7. So guys,
0-6 against 1-4.
Yay!
Oh, I'm getting crazy over here.
Yeah, but Adrian Peterson, man, Adrian Peterson. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you tuning in and leave a comment if you agree, disagree. We'll be on Twitter.
Blow that stuff up with comments, guys. Come on.
Yeah, we'll be on Twitter.
I gave you some fodder.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, we'll see you next week in Week 8. Thanks for tuning in.
Ponder Russ? What is that?
I don't know.
What the hell is Ponder Russ? It's out.